Sessions with Tomek Kowalski and Marcin Czarny.
Certain things are complex, time-consuming, painful. If you ever try to introduce any major change to a large-scale institution with hundreds or thousands of employees across hundreds of apps, you probably know what I'm talking about. And especially if the change was a security improvement that required changing both the applications and then the user daily routine, that's exactly the challenge to be considered. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marcin. This is Tomasz. We are the founders of Sequence, and we help companies save time and money while improving their overall security strategy related to user authentication. So banks and other financial institutions spend 3 times the amount the non-financial institutions are spending on cybersec, and yet most of them do not provide multi-factor authentication for their entire user base across every app. Instead, only selected users and selected applications are protected from phishing, man-in-the-middle, social engineering, replay, and other attacks on their accounts. And this is because global adoption of multi-factor at scale was considered complex, time-consuming, and painful, and in some situations impossible to conduct. And this is where we can help. We completely redefine the adoption of multi-factor into large-scale environments. We take any methods available, be it a hardware dedicated key or a mobile authenticators or biometrics, and we deploy it into any web application in minutes or hours. So there's no costly software development, no third-party codes residing in your apps, no vendor logs. You can think of Sequence as an intermediary, independent layer that is spanned across your infrastructure and providing multi-factor wherever it's needed. Okay, let's see Sequence in action. What you see on the screen is a dashboard of Sequence appliance, which comes in a physical or a virtual form and should be placed somewhere in your infrastructure. So let's assume Amazon.com is the application that you actually own, and you're willing to upgrade it from the traditional password-based schema to a multi-factor authentication. What Tomek was doing right now is he logged in with a password-based only, as this is a default for the apps we're facing. So there are 3 simple steps we need to conduct in order to make it work with Sequence without touching into any code of Amazon. So step 1 involves introducing this app into Sequence itself. So what Tomek will do right now is creating a virtual host, a kind of representation of the application that we want to protect, and that's done. In step 2, we need to change the way traffic flows. It's a very straightforward process done by your network operators, usually in the form of changing a DNS entry or a firewall rule or a routing table. So we need to make the traffic flows between the users and the target app through Sequence, and that's done. And step 3 is the learning phase. In this phase, we need to figure out how the application is being built without involving into its code base. So we are sending a special username that will act as a probe that will scan the entire application on multiple layers and figure out and determine the authentication mechanisms related to authentication. So, of course, such user does not exist in Amazon, but this is thanks to this user, we've gathered intelligence that will help us build the protective layer. Tomek will now refresh the screen, and so this is the info we've gathered from this process. And if we apply, that's all we needed to upgrade this app on a different level. So let's see again. The same user that used to log in with password only now will require an extra factor. In this situation, we'll be using a hardware-based keys based on an open standard called Universal Second Factor, which is currently the most secure method available in the market, and it's really loved by the users, and you will see why. So all I have to do as a user is I click register new key and tap the button. I think the adapter is not working. Yeah, and tap the button. Yeah, we're okay. So what you just saw was we've associated the key with the user, so then the consecutive logins would look exactly the same. The experience would be that seamless. So again, just typing the password, like Tomek will do now. hit authenticate, and touch the button. So what you just saw was a complete upgrade of the application that we did not control, obviously, and then user enrollment, and then consecutive logins. So once we have authentication, like multi-factor authentication in place, we can do even more. Let's assume this application has certain resources that you're willing to protect with even more care. So Tomek will go to orders, and again, with a few clicks, we like to make this resource available under special circumstances. So Tomek will create a thing called micro-authorization, and after just a few clicks, each time the user will try to access this resource, he will be requested to provide additional authentication. So you'll see that the resource that was available right now will require touching the key every time the user accesses it. So this way you not only get reassured that there is this particular entitled user behind the keyboard, the user that you granted permission to, and not the malware-controlled machine, and not the session stolen by the bad guys. And on top of that, such events would be logged and can be examined for possible malicious usage. So we have a few more interesting scenarios to show, but unfortunately we're running out of time. We're going to be at our booth for the next, I guess, an hour. So if you want us to show us this and tell us how you can protect your organization at a global scale, please join us at the booth. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was SecFence. Some very strong demos to finish the day here at FinoDay Europe 2019.